You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 149 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Monday, June 26th, 2023, and it's going to be I don't know how that happened. And it's going to be, I think I just looked very quickly and just saw something round. It looks like it's going to be okay day here weather-wise, but smoke is a big issue once again with wind patterns bringing smoke from wildfires in northern Quebec back down to this area. Ottawa in particular is doing very poorly, as is Montreal and probably Quebec City. We here up in Kingston at the Beaver Lodge are doing a little better, but not good. Particulate matter for people, because I mean, this is relatively new to us, and sometimes the numbers don't mean all that much. But basically, in Montreal yesterday, it was the metropolitan city with the worst air quality in the world, with particulate matter at about 250 micrograms per cubic meter. Right? What does that mean? Well, normally the World Health Organization recommends no more than 15 within a 24-hour period, and Montreal usually gets 10. So it's about 25 times more particulate. So this is very, 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 very bad. So you're measuring stick.
It's not the worst,
15.
Though.
That's your measuring stick, 15 or below, and Canadian cities are usually below that to start with. So yeah. So that's your, whenever you're hearing hearing these numbers, right? That will help you, to know what your yardstick is. You were saying, Mr. Grizzly, sorry?
It's not the worst in the world, though. The worst in the world is Piedras Negras, Mexico, at 1,167.
Yes, today. Montreal was yesterday.
Yeah,
the metropolitan city, major city with the worst air quality in the world yesterday.
Correct.
But it's still pretty bad.
Yeah, Il Perrot is bad. Cornwall is at 340 right now.
Yeah, it's still bad.
Sudbury at 334. So it's not good.
Yeah.
Dorval 246, Montreal 235. So and Ottawa's 232. It's not good.
Yeah. And then there's the other air quality health index that if you look at that on our weather apps and all that kind of stuff, it it's at a 10, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, at 8 over, you probably shouldn't even be walking your pets.
Agreed. Yeah.
So,
It's going to be, this is like the Saturday here. It was fine. It was beautiful. There was
yep,
no issue
right?
whatsoever. And Sunday woke up and went, what the hell is going on?
Sunday
And
was
it's better today
mhm.
than it was yesterday, but it's bad. It was bad yesterday.
Sunday was gorgeous here until about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. We got the smell of it, but we didn't have any of the smog for a little bit, depending
Oh,
on
okay.
which way
No,
the wind would blow.
ours was,
Like this, we'd get like a little waft of it for about like 10 or 15 minutes, and it would disappear, and then whoops, the wind would change again, and oh, there it is again. That type of thing was kind of weird.
no,
It
was bad here.
Yeah. So please take care of yourselves. Please, please, please be kind to and gentle with yourselves, and don't don't overextend, and again, and cancel your sporting events and that kind of stuff in Montreal. The organizers of the triathlon of Montreal and the Ironman in Mont Tremblant canceled their events. So take a you can you can skip the jogging for today, right? Just
Yeah, you'll be okay.
you'll be okay. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, and with me as always is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors. Boy, I'm having trouble today. The Pepper Master, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. We have a Monday morning bite for you. But first, let's ask Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today, sir?
Good morning, Mr. Beaver. Mental health, I think, is pretty good. Pretty good. A little tired, but that's just I always wake up tired because I sweat so much in the night. I get dehydrated. I wake up with a headache, and yeah, but feeling pretty good actually. I got a graphic here for us. If you look down at the bottom of the graphic, you can see there's Montreal,
Uh-huh.
Ottawa, and if you look up north, you can see how bad the fire smoke is as it spreads
Yep.
all the way through northern Ontario, Hearst, Kapuskasing, Timmins. It's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Although it is going to start to clear out later today, as you can see, it's still, if you live in northern Ontario, it's not getting any better anytime soon.
Yeah. From what I heard, I think that more easterly wind is going to take it, and because a couple of days ago they were suggesting that people in Newfoundland might actually be.
Oh yeah, affected by it. Yeah, you can see as it's going south, and then it'll go east sometime thereafter. But yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's firesmoke.ca is the. I'll put the link in the chat for anybody who is concerned. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good.
I am doing really well. I think maybe a couple of reasons why I am slipping up this morning is because I've crossed the finish line yesterday. I've had a very, very, very busy personal period of life since March 24th, when the Beaver Sweetie had to go under the knife and was taken out of circulation for about 6 weeks. And the show closed Saturday. And I am very, very, very sad to see it close. I understand.
Had to eventually.
Yeah, it does, especially because it's community theater, right? People only have so much time to take out of their lives. But with this show, I understand how people can do 8 shows a week for a year.
Yeah.
Right? And just keep on renewing the contract when you get a good group of people. This was totally drama-free.
Oh, nice.
The cast was excellent. The 2 young'uns and the 4, more senior actors. We basically had 3 months of masterclass acting lessons, the 2 young'uns from them 4. Everybody on the crew, it's a home theater, so we have our carpentry department, our props department in-house. They're fantastic. The production team, it was basically a group of dead mothers who treated us like their own children. We were spoiled.
Oh, cool.
It was just a beautiful experience. And over the weekend, our choir recorded an album.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you were busy.
really busy, really busy. So there was 3 days of recording. I was there for the final two because the first one I was on stage at the same time as the recording. But a couple of songs from our 2 or 3 last concerts put together. There was some video yesterday as well. I don't know what we're going to do with that, so I don't know if we're actually going to be releasing video for one of the songs, like releasing one as a single, maybe. I don't know, because the last time they did an album, I wasn't there that one, but there was no video. But on the third day, we were asked to wear our blacks um, for visuals, because the Saturday we were just there in
Right.
shorts and whatever. So yeah, it was a very, 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 very busy arts weekend for me, and a very busy arts period. But now the choir gets to relax until September, and I have nothing going on theater-wise until possibly an audition in August for We Will Rock You. Otherwise, I get to
Right.
rest and give you kids my undivided attention. Oh boy, because I tell you, doing some research, thank goodness there weren't very many slow news days, and one or two major stories that were pretty big that I could like catch up on within about half an hour to an hour, because I would have not been able to produce content otherwise. I had no time. uh, but today, today is there content. My God, you spend one weekend doing a play and recording an album, and the world loses its mind. I'm serious. Holy crap. Okay, we nearly have a coup in Russia. Just
very close to.
yeah. Well, I mean, we pretty much did have an insurrection, because that's not over.
No, it's not.
No, there's a lot of seeds of stuff that have been sown there. And then, of course, we have the biggest, one of the biggest prides in the world in Toronto, and went off without a hitch, and everything went well. But little known fact that I learned,
Said no to hate.
yeah. But a little known fact is that the federal government actually had to make available an emergency fund this year that distributed
Oh, really?
money, I think $1.5 million to 65 different Pride events in order to help them beef up their security. Toronto Pride itself, its insurance fees, because of all the online threats, went up from $67,000 for the event to over $300,000.
Yikes.
You want hate is costing us $1.5 million to keep events safe, and the organizers of the event's
go,
insurance
losers.
fees up 400%, 300 to 400%, just to keep in 1 year.
Great.
Conservatives are okay with you paying that, though.
Yeah.
They want you to be mad for 41.
But that carbon tax.
Exactly. They want you to be mad for 41 cents on the liter, but they have no problem with community event insurance going up 400% in 1 year, just to keep people safe.
Doesn't affect them. They don't give a shit. You know that. That's their MO. They don't care.
There are cracks emerging.
Yeah.
And then, who would have thought that after the by-election results, the narrative would be that Skippy's a liability? I mean, he went in with 2, got out with 2, right? You'd think we'd all just move on. Oh, but no.
No, that's not the
case. Because some people sat down and took out the calculators and did math and compared vote share. Yeah, okay. The PPC didn't get 21% in Portage-Lisgar, but Max did get about 17, and the vax mandates are not really the thing anymore.
It's not a thing anymore.
So they didn't count on that. They
Yeah.
didn't count on their vote share going down there. They didn't count in their vote share going down in Westmount. They didn't count in their vote share going down in Oxford. They didn't count.
Yeah. Looks like the rage farming is starting to backfire on him.
And then, just as that comes out, we go to the poll aggregator, and something interesting happened. Because I'll try to blow that up a little bit. There you go. Okay. Now, if you look at the popular vote production, this is 338.com. This takes all the polls together, gives them a rating based on their quality, gives them a weight, this, and then keeps track over a rolling period. The older polls have less weight, fresher polls have more weight. So it gives you an overall view. All right. Now, over the past couple of polling reporting periods, the Liberals have been slowly creeping up. Conservatives creep down a bit, holding steady. But how does that translate into seats? Because there's not very much
That's a good
change
question.
in the top line number. Well, over time, this is what's been happening. So the Conservatives broke out a really big lead here. Not enough for majority, but a
Right.
big lead. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. Whereas the Liberals,
Dropping
now the
off.
top line number is not changing, but it's where are the votes? So it seems to be
Right.
this would indicate that out where the Conservatives already have strong vote, it's probably solidifying. So it's just more polarization, gets you more votes in places where you don't need them, but something's happening somewhere. So we go up, and things are pretty much constant everywhere except for in two places. In Ontario, look what's happened. Boom.
It's flip flop. Yeah.
They're losing Ontario right now.
Well, I think the Ford administration, the Doug Ford government, the premier, his what he wants to call Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario, is eradicating healthcare. You know, on the daily, trying to privatize absolutely everything, giving it to his good old buddy Galen Weston, who will profit off us, our public dollar, by the way. They're doing this with public funds. And people are, what's the word I'm looking for? Pissed. People are not happy about this. And we look, how many people did we tried to warn as many people as we could in Alberta that Danielle Smith would do the same thing, because she's been talking about it for years. And guess what? She's already started to do it.
Mm-hmm. And so they're losing Ontario, but then look what's happening out west. And out west, this time including British Columbia. So they've started to uptick back in British Columbia, where they have a big lead in the polling numbers.
Wow.
But what happened to them with their seats? They're getting more people in the seats they already have. But they're getting no benefit for that rise whatsoever. Right? And then, of course, in Alberta, where they don't need any more, they're starting to rise again. Yeah. And same thing on the prairies, although not as strong.
So Saskatoba, as they call it.
Yeah. Just more polarization. Just more polarization. Well, so they're getting they're making money because these people are opening their wallets, but it's not translating into votes, and it's not translating into seats. Where they need to get the seats, they are pissing people off.
Oh yeah. Well, if we can just continue to keep exposing the truth when it comes to what the Ford government is doing to the province of Ontario by, paving paradise and putting up a parking lot for $450 million for a spa on Ontario Place, which is public lands. It will be a private for-profit spa, which he's donating millions of dollars. Oh, and have you ever looked at who the board of directors of Therm are?
Mm-hmm. And then if you look at Atlantic Canada, free fall.
Yeah.
Where they need the votes, they are pissing people off.
They're not getting them.
They're not going to get them. So all of a sudden, he's being viewed as a liability. And even, I was looking at some old articles here, recent ones, and well, there was one in the Toronto Star, I believe, in April, already stating that Doug Ford and Pierre Poilievre were really not getting along. And let's see. Pierre Poilievre versus Doug Ford. Insiders see a deepening rift between Canada's most prominent conservative leaders. Because Doug Ford, as awful as he is not awful in the same way.
No. That's there's levels of awful.
There's levels of
Degrees
awful,
of
but there's
awful.
also not in the same way. He's your typical grease my palm, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of, slap you in the back. Yeah, ha 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 kind of guy. But Pierre's just angry.
Yeah. Well, there's reasons for that, and
well, yes,
we know what.
Yeah, absolutely. Repression makes people do weird things.
It does indeed.
That's all I will say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they are not. Basically, they describe it as the realist versus the idealist in this case, right? So Pierre's working on ideals, and Doug says, "Well, this is literally what I can realistically how far I can go." Because Doug Ford keeps on pushing back. He tries, and whoa, okay, people get mad. Okay, I'll pull back, and maybe I'll try again later, like with the green belt, or maybe I'll just right. So I mean,
we're not going to touch the green belt. We're touching the green belt.
They're both awful, just in different ways. But clearly, Doug Ford is the more clever bear.
Yeah.
Of the two.
He's been a rat for a lot longer. I mean,
But now you have all these articles that are popping out. Like, for example, you have, the one that's gotten the most attention out of all of them is Chantal Hebert's Pierre Poilievre is becoming a liability to conservatives. Now, when you have Emeritus Chantal Hebert basically only telling it like it is, when everybody else is wondering, like, you've got issues. Politically, you've got issues.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now, she asks in it, 9 months into his tenure, there's no denying that the latest CPC leader is having a measurable impact on Canada's federal dynamics. But is it the kind of impact is it the kind of impact that Conservatives need to return to the government benches? The early evidence suggests otherwise. More so than its federal rivals, the Conservative Party has tended over the course of its history to be beset by infighting. If the past is any indication, it is only when the party succeeds in setting aside its internal divisions that it achieves its goal of forming government, as was the case, for example, with Mulroney and, in Harper in 2006 when he was able to put a lid on the bozo eruptions, let's call it. But with the recent by-election in Portage-Lisgar, which she says was the scene of an ugly fratricidal war between Maxime Bernier's breakaway party and the Poilievre forces. Meanwhile, in the Ontario riding of Oxford, part of the local CPC establishment campaigned for the Liberals. While the Conservatives held both ridings, it did not make the kind of dent in Liberal support it will need if it is to win the next general election. Nor did its campaign project the image of a government-ready party. Settling scores at just about any future cost to the party, as exemplified by the battle against Bernier, seemed to be the only order of the day. Boom. Increasingly these days, Conservative insiders tend to be more critical of Poilievre's approach than his Liberal New Democrat and Bloc rivals. Not good. And then, in the same vein, it's impossible not to note the distance Ontario Premier Doug Ford has been keeping from his federal Conservative counterpart. The signal coming from Queen's Park is that when it comes to beating Trudeau in Canada's largest province, Poilievre is essentially on his own.
Oh,
Mhm.
yes.
Here again, it's worth noting that when Mulroney first came to government, then Ontario Premier William Davis had not only made a public show of support, but also put his election machine at the service of the federal party. Um, she, she's she just she just says it like it is, and yet it
Yeah.
slices like a knife. Combined with Poilievre's rhetoric, the pact makes it virtually impossible. This is the supply and confidence agreement between the Liberals and the New Democrats.
Hmm.
Combined with Poilievre's rhetoric, that pact makes it virtually impossible for the NDP to argue that the Liberal agenda is not more progressive than that of the current CPC leader. So they can't do Liberal story, same old story, which is their usual refrain. Given a choice between a Liberal Party they have little cause to fear or a CPC that threatens to roll back the clock on a progressive agenda, many New Democrat voters could be tempted to hold their nose and support Trudeau in the next campaign. The Bloc finally has undoubtedly lost some of its parliamentary influence as a result of the Liberal NDP agreement, but Poilievre's arrival has still been a gift to the Sovereigntist Party. For example, him wanting to cut the CBC and saying two
Hmm.
things, one thing in English and one in French, how he's going to manage to cut the CBC without cutting Radio-Canada when Radio-Canada uses the CBC infrastructure across the country.
Yeah. Like, hi. You can't.
And since you already
You
have the
can't.
infrastructure, well, then why wouldn't you program in English and only program in French? In a country that has two official languages, why would you only serve the minority language? That would cause some issues with people with the majority language, just on a point of principle.
You think?
Even if they don't
He's
watch
not
the
that
CBC.
smart.
I know, he's not that smart. He's clever, but he's not smart. He's not smart.
No, he's not.
And then, boom. In no province are the CPC's leaders' negatives higher than in Quebec, and that basically leaves the Bloc as the main beneficiary of the opposition vote in Canada's second largest province. Also an area he needs to win. Chantal just stuck it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's PP. Then we get to the big vote today. If you're in Toronto, there's about 200 eligible voters who, please do cast a ballot, make some time, who can vote in this. And, well, it seemed to be framed all along as being a runaway race for Olivia Chow. And, well, the thing is that for some reason there seems to have been a movement that started all of a sudden, like an anyone but Chow. There's a
Yes.
major
Weird, eh?
consolidation on the right, or at least a campaign to get people to consolidate on the right. Uh, and then all of a sudden, well, Fury is the momentum candidate, and then all of a sudden, uh, I don't know if I pronounced her name right, Anna Bilal is coming up out of the blue. And now we have some things saying that, you know, that we have CP24, which is, you know, let's just say not the most Olivia Chow friendly outlet out there. CP24 was that outlet. We remember when we showed you that interview with Poliver and that lady dressed in white, and she just basically asked him like one question on 4 different topics and didn't challenge anything, just basically lobbed him and let him say whatever. That was CP24. So
Hmm.
we had this come out from CP24 yesterday. It says, or actually this morning, well, 11 hours ago. So I guess yesterday, Olivia Chow's lead narrows to single digits in final polls before Toronto mayoral election. Okay. Even if you say that's true. So we went to Polling Canada on Twitter
Hmm.
where they do that, and they have this here. And they go, final Toronto mayoral polling averages. And sure enough, it says Chow 32.6 and Bailao 23.4, Saunders 12. Mr. Grizzly, there's an asset up there for you if you like. So, okay, the gap is closing. But what? Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
The gap is closing, but
Yeah.
Olivia Chow has some momentum as well.
The big boost for Bilal there at the last.
Well, that's what I mean. All that
in the
you
last
see
couple of
Saunders
weeks, like,
drop, right? Matlow drop. So
yeah.
that there was a movement. But here's the thing. And here's the other part. With all of that, the lead is within like it's single digits now. What does that mean in terms of odds of winning so far, Mr. Grizzly? Just mess it up.
81%. That's a pretty high number. It's a really high number. Like 81% is massive. Oh, that looks like we lost Mr. Beaver. He seems to be frozen. Okay, I'm just gonna close him down there for a minute. I don't know what happened. He seemed to have frozen. We seem to have a couple of gremlins in the system today because my camera is not. My processor is. Oh, there, it's working better now. I don't know what's going on. One of those weird mornings where things just gone sideways. Yeah, Chris Sky's not even in the running, and it's a joke. And isn't he? Didn't he just get arrested again the other day for some bizarre, strange reason? If memory serves, he was arrested or had to surrender himself for arrest because he did some criming again. That he says these bogus charges, which we know they're not bogus. We know they're not bogus. He gets charged because he commits crime all the time, and he wants to be the mayor. How would that work out? I'm still kind of PO'd at the blatant bullshit being posted by the National Post with their article about how they're saying Olivia Chow is a regressive politician who will oversee Toronto's downfall. It's like, how is that even possible? Somebody's phone is ringing. How is it even possible that you could see Olivia Chow as a regressive politician? Her whole life she's been with the NDP, that is a progressive movement. So where do they come up with this crap? I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's quite bizarre. Hopefully we can get Mr. Beaver back in a couple minutes. I'm just waiting to see. I haven't got a message from him. Usually he'll text me a message, say his computer borked or whatever the case may be. But I'm just going to send him a message saying we lost you. And hopefully he'll come back in a minute or two. And yeah. Let me just zoom in a little bit there. Oh, there he is. He's back again. Sort of back again. You're there. I just, we can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. I can see you. You're slowly coming into view. Can you hear me? I don't think you can hear me.
Yes.
Oh, there you are. You can hear me now?
There you go. Yep.
Okay, you're in clear now. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, that was weird. Very strange.
Can you hear me?
It's like if you were
Can you
moving
hear
in
me now?
slow mo, kind of like the old shopping channel. Yeah, it's just there's a massive delay in the audio. Massive
No.
delay.
I put up the I put up
I can hear
I
you,
put up
but
the
the delay
asset
is
and
like 3
I,
to 5 seconds.
okay.
Your computer crashed, yeah.
Yep, it did completely. I put up the asset and it crashed. All right. So when you saw from the asset, it was 81% for Chow, 19% for Bilal. But here's the thing. Is it just me or is anybody else noticing that the entire conservative apparatus seems to have involved itself in this election? Almost like it's like if we lose Toronto, we lose the whole thing. I mean, Pierre Poliver's
Yeah.
endorsed Doug Ford's Ford Fest was a sort of greasy pro Saunders type thing. And what is it with Doug Ford always wanting police chiefs in positions of power?
Well, that's how he can abuse his power.
I mean, there is way too much involvement. And here's another little thing. Really, this Anthony Fury put out a thing where he is listing some of his endorsements. Mr. Chris, if you'd put the asset up. I am not sure that this is John Baird, Jordan Peterson, Suen Levy, Joe Oliver.
John Baird.
Yeah. And
yeah,
these are the two people he puts like to the left and the right of him. Now, am I not mistaken, but do these two particular people have issues?
One or two.
And this is a good look.
He seems to think so.
He chose this. Somebody chose this. Out of all the people that he could say, these are the people who endorse me, puts one to his right and one to this. Are you... These two people together in a room, the guy on the right has a problem with the fact that the guy on the left exists.
That's the irony, right?
We are in the most effed up timeline.
It's just so stupid. Yeah, that's the other thing.
Cracks are in.
Wasn't Fury emerging? Wasn't Fury? Didn't he write for like the Ottawa Sun or something like that? Or
yeah, and then there was somebody that was really upset the other day on Twitter. It's like, oh my God, Fury, he was the editor and he did all this stuff for the Sun, and you guys like supported, you guys endorsed Bilal, some kind of loyalty. It's like, yes, because we live in a world in which your past employer, if you run for office, must necessarily endorse.
Yeah.
Really?
Really.
What next? One person, two votes?
Yeah.
We are never taught this, ever.
I know, it's just bizarro land.
If you're the editor of a newspaper and you decide to go into politics, then your newspaper must absolutely endorse you.
It doesn't make any sense.
That's cuckoo bananas.
Maybe they're not endorsing him because they know how much of it. Anyway.
You think?
Or maybe they're not endorsing him because, well, let's just go with he's not right-wing crazy enough for them, possibly.
I guess.
I'm just guessing, speculating, I'm spitballing, I'm throwing stuff out there, seeing what sticks. I don't know.
Ooh, we have Kit Donna saying, "A luta continua. Amanda Marshall was amazing."
Yes, she was.
And yes, and she is also trending on Twitter today.
Oh, really?
This morning, yes, she was. Yeah,
where did
people are loving. Well, I mean, she
tore
the roof off it.
Yeah, well, no, where'd she play last night, though?
Oh, that I do not know. That's a good question. I do not know where she played last night. But yeah, she is just blowing it up, and everybody's like playing all these. Pretty much, they all have a clip because they're great. Let's just put it that way. I mean, but yeah, she's amazing. I mean, there's some people that were sitting there like, how did I know Amanda Marshall was touring? How did I not know she was touring again? Her albums were the soundtrack of my 20s, and as a fellow alto, the only ones I could fully belt from the car. Oh, man. Yeah. So, and then in the ultimate cracks are appearing. Cracks are emerging. Russia.
Yeah. Wagner.
Holy crap on a cracker.
Yeah, this is the end of Putin because he looks weak now. He looks weak.
Well, yeah, it really, really does. Now, here's the thing. There's lots of stuff that been going on leading to this. But what happened is that, from what the best I can gather, is that Prigozhin has been saying for a while now that there are some issues, and those issues are they're the fault of the traditional military. But he hasn't been saying Putin specifically, probably because he doesn't want to meet with an open window. But
well, there's a
or a
lot of
flight of stairs, or
defenestration
an
that takes
elevator,
place there. He fell on a
or
bullet.
an elevator shaft, or a cup of tea, or 50 ways to kill your rival.
Yeah.
But
he fell down the
basically,
stairs. It was a flight of stairs. It
yeah,
was a stairwell. How do you fall down a stairwell?
yeah, and I know. So from what best I can gather is that Putin asked the Wagner Group to take the town of Soledar, and they did. And they did so with major losses. So Wagner was asking for replacements. Now, Wagner is a group that has very, very, very experienced contractors, people that have had military experience before, and then to bring them in. But when Putin replaced them, he had conscripts, so people that didn't have the training, and he also sent prisoners, which also didn't have the training. So he wasn't sending his, as Trump would say, he wasn't sending his very best. After Soledar, Putin asked them to go to Bakhmut, and the same thing happened. And basically, what happened is that when you are doing evil things, often you're being convinced that you're doing it for the greater good. So, through the 19-year-old fresh-faced Russians that are there, they're being told that, Putin's going in there to liberate Ukraine of Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
And, to defend the Russian people who are living in Ukraine and all that kind of stuff. So they're going there and they're doing that. And all of a sudden, they're seeing the new people, the replacements come in, and, they're a couple of years older now. And well, than when they started, right?
Oh, yeah.
Fighting for Wagner all around the world. And now they're seeing people that are coming into Wagner at the age that they were when they came into Wagner, but ill-equipped.
Well, with
and
virtually
just
no training.
Being ground, no training, and just getting shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, that'll cause a little confusion or anger.
A little bit.
The people you're fighting for are sending people who look the way you looked 3-4 years ago, and they're just getting splattered.
It's basically what it boils down to, because it's that brutal.
Now, as Bo of the Fifth Column says, neither of these guys, Prigozhin or Putin, are good guys. But right now, it kind of looked for the moment that Prigozhin was
better,
doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But for what reason?
Who knows?
Right? The greatest treason, doing the right thing for the wrong reason. Wagner troops started making some videos denouncing this pure waste of life, and Prigozhin decided that he was going to make some videos too. Again, not blaming Putin, but making it clear that there were logistical issues and that the traditional military was probably to blame for that. Now, did Prigozhin exploit that anger to gain the loyalty of his troops that were already upset? Because, he managed to get about 25,000 of them to start a march towards Moscow. And when they got to about 200 kilometers from outside Moscow, all of a sudden there was a deal that was struck. The deal was struck by Belarusian president, also dictator, also tried to be voted out by his people, but he crushed that. Alexander Lukashenko, who just had some nuclear weapons delivered to his country because he said he would store them there in case Putin needed to launch them
That's
through
not
there to hit
good.
Ukraine. Yeah.
It's not good.
Anyway, so this guy apparently negotiated a deal in which Prigozhin, who now nobody's heard of, said has gone into exile in Belarus. But all of a sudden, some of those 25,000 troops who were marching with him to Moscow, well, I mean, they were given a deal too. I mean, they could sign a new contract to go fight there, or they could sign a contract to go defend Russian interests or promote Russian interests in places like Africa or whatnot. So they also wouldn't be charged for this treason. But, oh, wait a minute. But if you compare Navalny and Prigozhin actually walked into Russia with 25,000 people, but he gets to go to exile. So yeah, Putin looks a little weak. Probably didn't have the resources he needed to defend the fortress. Because, he's taking conscripts and convicts out and sending over to Ukraine to fight that one. So, he's already lost his best, right? Is it clear? It's not clear why Prigozhin accepted this deal. Did Prigozhin rally those 25,000 troops and got them going and make them think that he was really with them, and then he got himself a sweet little deal for himself, and now he's gone?
This is an interesting thing. There's a rumor going around that Putin is already dead.
Or is he just gone for a while and he's going to come back later? But if he comes back later, will he come back with something for the Wagner guys that were there and saw that, or not? Because right now the seeds of discontent are... Because when you're a general like Prigozhin and you bring 25,000 troops and say, we're going to go march on Moscow because... I'm not going to say Putin, but at least Gerasimov and those other ones, well, they're taking people like you, and look what they're doing to them. We need to stop that. And all of a sudden you get like 200 kilometers from town and, oh, okay, we're done. And you just leave them there?
I just got a message from Tavi G here. I'm going to share this thing on Twitter. Came in, I guess, at 5:30 this morning. Lukashenko. Belarus nuclear weapons will be guarded by a private military company. PMC Wagner is brought into Belarus under the pretext of guarding nuclear weapons. Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there is there's something going,
Yeah.
and then on the international stage, China has publicly reaffirmed its support, North Korea too, but will Chairman Xi over the long time think it's good for him to have a partner that might be a failing leader on whom a coup may soon come? Does he want to give his people any ideas? Because there were some protests against him during COVID when things got really bad. And that was never seen before in China.
Yeah.
Does he want to give his people some ideas?
There's a big shakeup going around.
Yeah. I can understand how China wouldn't mind having Russia as a vassal state, but do you want to have as a vassal state one in which its leader might soon be taken out?
Well,
you might not want to get too close to that. The mayor of Moscow says that all security restrictions in the city have been lifted now, and there has been video that has appeared of Russia's defense minister that is alleged by the Russian Ministry of Defense to be of him visiting troops of Ukraine on the front lines, because Prigozhin was often appearing in videos on the front lines in areas of intense battle, whereas the Minister of Defense for Russia was nowhere to be seen. So, don't know if they're trying to shore up stuff. Don't know if he actually went or if they're just repurposing a video, or lots of unknowns. Nobody knows where Prigozhin is, what he got, what the terms of the deal was, what.
I
That's a
gotta
lot of
share
blanks
this
for
with you
people to
right
fill
now.
in whatever they need to be true. Oh, okay.
This falls into the weirdness category of what's going on globally right now. This is a tweet from our friend Charles Adler from just a few minutes ago. Like, I got to share this with you on the screen because I'm like, holy crap, this is bizarre. Question: is Post Media publishing propaganda for the Taliban? Taliban leader claims women are provided with a prosperous life in Afghanistan. In the Calgary Herald.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is going on? Like, I know that, you know, it's funny when you see a certain group of right-wing extremists who just a couple of years ago accused every Muslim person they met of being Taliban are now siding with, I'm going to say, elements of Sharia law when it comes to LGBTQ society. You know, I'm sure you saw some at protests at high schools over the last week or so, where they had
Yes.
Muslim parents and students come out and stomp on the pride flag and this. And I'm
Yes.
like, you know, a couple of years, I'm like, don't, you're being ridiculous. You're allowing yourself to be used by a group of people who will burn you at the stake the first chance they get. They're using your ignorance and hatred to further their cause. And, you know, just a few years ago, if you're Muslim, you wanted Sharia law and you wanted to bring it into this country, and now you've got the same people supporting the ideas behind Sharia law.
A couple of years ago, we needed a stitch line, apparently.
Yeah, but now there's what the fuck is happening? What is going on? I don't understand things anymore. But what, like, we're in the upside down.
I know.
The earth is flat. Vaccinations are bad, and Nazism is on the rise.
But that
in
was the whole
2023.
That was the whole point of Kenny's campaign, though, when he was Minister of Multiculturalism, was going out to all those communities. He was trying to find the conservative,
Mm-hmm.
the immigrant communities that were considered conservative, so that they can try to turn them. Talk about abortion, talk about these issues. And
Yeah.
rather than, because conservatives view immigrant communities as being favorable to liberals because liberals have put in the immigration policies that allowed them to come, and the family reunification policies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, we got to change that. So let's appeal.
Let's get their vote. Let's use them to get elected, and then we'll toss them out.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Voting against your own best interest, and it's the amount of people that fail to realize that. But you know what it is, and I was talking to Bridget about this on Friday, was people are not properly informed. You can't make a good decision if you don't have all the information. And the problem is people don't have the time to be properly informed. It's just about headlines and nanosecond sound bites, which is what the conservatives are really good at. So our job is to try and let people know that you're being lied to. You're being lied to, and you're being used and abused, and they will toss you aside the second they can. So let's get the information out there to as many people as we can so that we don't lose our nation to a group of evangelical right-wing Christians who want to take us back to a time that really never was. They want to create Gilead. They want to live the Handmaid's Tale.
Mm-hmm.
They want the Handmaid's Tale. And the Handmaid's Tale, remember, it's not a frickin' manual, people. It's supposed to be a work of fiction based on actual things that were happening around the world at the time when it was written in the mid-'80s. But now those things seem to be becoming, you know, truth is stranger in fiction in this case.
Mm-hmm. Indeed,
You know?
indeed. Oh, man.
It's just
Weird world.
frustrating.
It's a weird world.
Yeah.
It's a weird world. You know, it's at the same time as there's so much love and acceptance going on, there's
all this stupidity at the same time, yeah. Well, you look at, there was, what, 1 million people in the streets yesterday for Pride Toronto, so love wins, right? Love wins, but
and not one incident of violence.
No, not a single one. Love wins, but we have to we have to shout down the badness, promote the positive. We need to get the word out, and it's important for people to understand that there are forces at work who will try and rob you of your rights. And they've already started to do it. I mean, they rolled it back in the US, and they'll be coming for us next. They'll be coming for, look, they've already taken Roe v. Wade away. They've taken women's rights to make that choice away in several states. Some, the law is so strict that doctors couldn't perform an emergency abortion on a woman who would have died and almost bled to death in Texas the other day. And the doctors wouldn't perform it because they were afraid to go to prison and be charged for murder, because they've talked about giving the death penalty to doctors who perform abortions. Like, what the hell is going on here? It was a medical emergency, but the law is so strict that she almost died because they wouldn't perform the surgery that she needed to live. It's just so troublesome.
It is.
14 states have passed abortion laws with no exceptions for rape or incest. Do you know how twisted that is?
It's absolutely twisted. Absolutely twisted. You must give birth to your rapist's child. I don't get it.
I don't understand it. It makes no sense. I thought they were pro-life, because that's not pro-life. That's pro-birth and nothing more.
Pretty much.
Nothing more than that. That the individual is in that situation. They don't even count as a human being in that case. You're just simply a broodmare for the state. I'm just, we're in the upside down times, and some days it really is troublesome to deal with. I don't know how to deal with it some days. And this is one of those days. I'm just, put my head in my hands and sigh in exasperation and think, okay, let's get through today, and tomorrow I'll be ready to fight again. I haven't given up the fight, but some days I just need to take a breather, because it's just too much. And that's what they count on. But what they fail to recognize is that I'm taking a pause. I'm not walking away from this fight. You're not going to beat me down. You're not going to beat me into submission. I will not abandon the fight, because I'm fighting for the right things. I'm fighting for people's rights, trying to get the information out there to make sure that people are informed to make a good decision. And I find 9 times out of 10, if people are properly informed, they will make a good decision for themselves and their community. But they need to be informed.
Now, in our last series of cracks in the pavement, or cracks emerging, I should say, this one I find confusing because I'm not quite exactly sure what's going on. But if you will, Mr. Grizzly, put it up. This is about a few minutes of some weirdness.
Yeah.
But anyway, this keeps going
for a couple minutes
on, because I'm not going to play it all over. I'm just going to fast forward here. But here we go.
The Proud Boys.
So basically,
and Patriot Front, right?
Yeah. You've got the Proud Boys and the Patriot Front fighting each other. One group is calling the other group racists and Nazis, and they are hitting each other with American flags.
Right.
So what's exactly the problem here? One group is not racisty or Nazi enough?
I think so.
For the other, or not one group of Nazis and racists being offended that they're being called racists and Nazis by other racists and Nazis. What?
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm sad it's happening, but what? Like, clearly these people just want to fight.
It's destroying
Any
themselves.
reason to fight.
Destroying themselves from within, which is fine by me. Let them destroy themselves.
Pass the frickin' popcorn.
Yeah.
Right here. There we go. This Brooklyn Dad Defiant. My oh my, Proud Boys fighting the Patriot Front. Two shitty sides of the same shitty coin. This is terrible. I'm all out of popcorn.
Yeah.
Send help.
That's the terrible part. He's run out of popcorn. Yeah.
Again, it's like maybe it's just like the world's gone mad and now it's like when the people that go like so far right that they come back to left.
Yeah.
Or they go so far left they end up right.
Yeah.
Preaching right stuff. It's like, okay, so now these people, they say that they're Nazis and racisty, but they maybe have too many useful idiots of color in their group. So the one that doesn't have enough are the racists and not. I don't know where that line is when you're both racists and Nazis. What makes one denounce the other?
I don't know.
Part of me doesn't want to know because it seems that would be so weird that would make my head hurt and maybe cause me to have a few nightmares.
Well,
But I does not compute.
Well,
Does not compute.
I think Ree's nailed it here. That's exactly it. They are only looking for a fight because they do not know how to live in a modern world that doesn't put a white man first. I think that's what it is. They can't deal with the fact that they may suddenly have a limitation on their privilege. That somebody may, be placed at a higher echelon or a higher point in life than them, and they just can't deal with it. They need to look down on somebody, which is why they want to keep the minimum wage minimum. They have to look down on somebody to make themselves feel better about their shitty lot in life. Pretty horrible. Pretty horrible, but, there it is.
Yeah. And then we have another crack in the team. This one from Alberta.
Oh.
Well. Brian Jean. I am committed to working hard every day to stand up for Albertans and standing up against Ottawa. We are going to stand up for Albertans and fight hard for them and their industries. That includes oil and gas, which we do better than anyone else on the planet, and we are only getting better at it every single day. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hand everybody else a participation trophy while you're at it.
There's no losers here. Everyone's a winner.
We do oil and gas better than anyone on the planet. It's like, yeah, Canada's freaking burning and you're complaining about 41 cents on the carbon tax. But yeah, let's just pump more.
And the planet's deciding that we can't do this anymore.
It's like, and here's the part that really sticks in my craw. I am committed to working hard every day to stand up for Albertans and standing up against Ottawa. We're in the same damn freaking country, you nutsack.
Yeah.
Why would anybody from Alberta need anybody else from Alberta to stand up against any other part of this country?
Because it's wedge.
Flippin' is wrong with you?
Drive the wedge, man. Drive the wedge. It's an us versus them mentality when it comes to a lot of Albertans. And I tweeted about it last week saying, listen, I'm concerned for Alberta. I'm concerned for the people of Alberta. Oh, shut up and tend to your own stuff in Ontario. I'm like, I am, but I'm also expressing, shut up. You have no say in this. Actually, I do. It's called freedom of expression. I'm expressing myself. I can say whatever I want about Alberta. Aren't you the freedom province? Aren't you the freedom place? And you're telling me to shut my yap because you don't like what I have to say when, I'm concerned for the welfare of my friends, family members, and colleagues in that province? Yeah. Freedom for me, not for thee.
PNC bio. Such ableist language. That's a lot of standing.
Yeah, indeed.
Horrible. But literally, we need to stand up against Ottawa. Ottawa's like, here's the political fentanyl. Give me your vein. Let me just shove that right in there.
How well would Alberta have done if it wasn't for Ottawa during the height of the pandemic, when the whole world shut down? How well would the province of Alberta done during that time if they didn't have the support from the federal government in Ottawa?
Oh, well, they would have just pumped more oil and sold it to Europe.
But how would they do that?
Well, you're a pedo.
That's what it would boil down to, right? We'll just pump more oil. You can't do that. There's nobody at work. We'll figure it out. Okay.
And okay, so
People
you pump
aren't
it out.
working.
Then how do you increase all that production like right now instantaneously? And then how do you get it there? And then how do you
Don't get it there.
You're talking down
You
our
know what?
industries. How dare you not have express confidence in the Albertan worker? Like, it's like, dude, you can't even pack meat right now without taking out half your staff. You gonna pump oil? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I just,
Yeah.
what is wrong with these people that they just cannot row in the same direction as the rest of the damn team?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, and this is the other thing, Linda. This one here, you're hitting it right on the head. Oh, but the whole country would fall apart with Alberta without Alberta sending us their oil and gas money. I actually had somebody say to me last week on Twitter, "Good luck, you bastards! Once we cut off our money from our tax, or once we cut off our," I'm like, um, the federal tax base distributes money across the country. You do realize that there are almost 16 million people in Ontario. There's 4.7 million in Alberta. Which province has a larger tax base to draw from? We'll be fine. You'll be screwed.
Declining industry.
You've got so many folks who they've been listening to the bullshit for so many years. They think they prop up the entire country. It's like, no.
But here's the thing.
No.
Like, right now they're telling us, like, you could take this Alberta ethical oil and you can sell it so we don't have to, like, take the oil of these, like, terrible third world nations. Okay, but if you do absolutely nothing to really address climate change and the rest of the world does, there are fewer and fewer countries to whom you're going to be able to sell your oil. And all of those countries to
This
which
is
you
the
will be
thing.
able to are going to be those third world dictatorships that you keep on telling them. Game it out. Game it out.
The world is turning. Major oil companies are saying we have to change our ways because the planet is screwed. And case in point that the planet is screwed. Let me show you a little GIF that I think you'll find interesting. Let me just share this screen here and just how climate change affects the planet. This is kind of interesting. Copious amounts of smoke from wildfires raging throughout Quebec, Canada will reach Western Europe in the next few hours.
There we go. That's what I was saying earlier, that people in Newfoundland should be expecting it. It was going to go east. It was going to stop moving from south and start moving east.
There you go. Look.
Yeah.
Fires in Quebec are about to affect the air quality in Ireland. It's a 7-hour flight from Montreal to Dublin at, 450 miles an hour? Right? So do you think the smoke is traveling at that speed? No, but it's going to get there.
Right.
So what we do here affects somebody somewhere else. That's the butterfly flaps its wings chaos theory of mathematics.
Right. And
everything
then
you do affects everything else.
Absolutely. And then this whole argument about, we're going to be nothing with Alberta's oil. Do we remember that, like, just on Friday, we read from these articles, Trudeau diversified Canada's economy like no one before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be less and less and less of the national GDP as time goes on.
Oh, yeah.
That argument's not cutting it.
It's not.
It's not cutting it. You got, again, as we say, this is Canada. You got to skate to where the puck is going. Right now, conservative governments in Alberta want to keep on skating to where it's been. This has worked well for us so far. Let's keep doing that. Well, you're going to be up for a really, 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 really nasty surprise. Because at some point, the rest of the country moves on. And if you don't move with it, you do get left behind. And it's not because, again, it's not because we cast you out. It's because you self-isolated. You self-segregated. There was a pandemic. We decided that there was a vaccine. We should follow public health. You didn't. There's an environmental crisis. The world is changing. We want to go faster. You're being a drag. We still need to get there. At some point, we're going to decide we're going to get there, whether or not you're coming. Because we have to. It's existential.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, sorry, it's like asking the leader of a government for the sake of 1 million people in Alberta who vote conservative to put 39 other million of us at risk. It's not a winning proposition. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
You know, it's the same thing with pride. When you're seeing all these people like take down these things, yeah, maybe there may be a couple of organizations that'll pull back, they'll get afraid. But it's just capitalism. At the moment, pride it's capitalism. As much as people in the gay community complain that all these like companies, they just slap a rainbow on everything, they don't really do anything for it. But we've gone from being a market to being accepted because there are a lot of us. And, well, people tend to love us because, we're kind of fabulous. And we lead with love.
Well, that helps.
So people kind of love us. So we buy stuff, and the people who love us buy stuff. And when you add us all together, well, yeah, maybe certain businesses will want to sacrifice all of this market to cater to yours, but they'll be few and far between, and it's not a winning business decision. It's just capitalism. If you have a problem with greater acceptance, you have a problem with capitalism. Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's when people say, when the chant, we're here, we're queer, get used to it. Nobody is going to give up this market. Nobody in their right mind, anyway. Nobody doesn't want to get thrown out of their company by their shareholders. We're an established market now. And when you're a market, when you become part of the supply chain, right? Russia might be the first one as it's coming, but there's been no country on the planet where McDonald's has placed itself as a business with franchises that has had a civil war since. Once you get integrated into the global supply chain, you try to do things not to lose your place, because it may take a long time for you to come back. It's just capitalism.
I think this is an interesting comment from Linda. They have a problem with capitalism when it's beneficial to people other than rich white men.
But it's the same damn principle. There are more of us. That's that one.
PNC bio. No wonder there's so much anger. Imagine being a tough guy, seeing a rainbow, then breaking out crying. Rainbows ruin tough guys.
There you go. Triggered by rainbows. Why are there so many triggered by rainbows.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I don't. Oh man, these people. It's like they crack me up because it's so silly, but the consequences are so dire that they just wear me out too.
Yeah.
It's this weird combination. It's this weird intersectionality of really dark humor, but with such grave consequences and unrelenting persistence, like waves trying to take down a mountainside right from the ocean, just constantly coming at you. Never ends. It's just like, oh man, Linda, you really need to start doing parody songs. I tell you, it's a Brittle Star, Randy Rainbow. If you're watching, put me in something musical, make me make a fool of myself. I'm all yours. Use me. Shameless self-promotion.
Well, it's got to be done.
I will do anything for a laugh. I have no pride. I have no shame. Use me.
Well, no, I think you have pride. Just no shame.
When it comes to making people laugh, I don't have much pride either. I'm the guy who'll do it. Nobody will do that. Ask Doug. He'll do that. Okay, sure. I'll put on a bat.
Ask Mikey.
And walk out.
He hates everything. Hey, Mikey, he likes it.
Oh man. All right. What else do we have in the news for you? Some interesting things. Some good news. The Innu Board of Education in Labrador says that a record number of students have graduated this year from 2 Innu communities. A total of 34 students of all ages, some in their early 20s who had to quit school and have returned. Some are parents who are juggling childcare. But between the late 1960s and 2008, the schools were run by churches or the provincial government, and there were fewer. And during that whole time, there were fewer graduates in that whole time span than there were this year alone.
Wow.
Now that the education system has been given to the people to run for themselves, and they include stuff like trapping and the cultural things that make the education culturally appropriate. Because you can learn about math, and you can learn about science, and you can learn about, right? There's not just one way. So congratulations to the graduating classes. That's a great achievement. That's fantastic. 34 graduates 1 year from 2 communities. More in 1 year than in about 50 years combined.
Wow.
When the state was running it, state and churches were running it. People know what to do if you just help them. Don't decide for them, just help them. People will
give them a hand up.
Yeah.
Give them a hand up,
Yeah. People know how to solve their problems.
Well, and a hand up is always better than a handout, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know the old saying, teach a man to fish, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man a fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. That's what a hand up is. That's a hand up. A handout it's going to help you today, but what's it going to do tomorrow? So give people a hand up.
Now you put an Arrested Development song in my head. They actually have that one that has a chorus. Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat forever. I don't remember. Maybe the song is actually called Fish Forever or something, but I don't remember. But it's an Arrested Development song. On the weekend, in La Belle Province, it was La Fête Nationale, La Saint-Jean-Baptiste. And across the rest of Canada, it was La Fête des Francophones, because a lot of people, because the emphasis is so much on Quebec, we often forget that La Saint-Jean-Baptiste is first and foremost like the celebration of French-speaking people. And it was made La Fête Nationale in Quebec. The main celebrations in Montreal returned to the Parc Maisonneuve for the first time since 2014, and scheduled were big artists such as Isabelle Boulay and Marjo, who used to be the lead singer who had a great solo career, but the lead singer for the group Corbeau back in the day, and Garou, The theme this year was entrer dans la danse, to enter into the dance. So trying to create a sense of unity. I'm not sure how the concert went because there was, I don't know if smoke affect anything. I
Mm,
didn't really hear
yeah, I don't know.
anything on the
Well,
news.
is today the
It was
holiday?
the
Is
24th.
today the holiday? No, 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 no. I mean the holiday, the day
Oh, the day
off,
off.
because the 24th
Yes,
was a
yes, yes.
Saturday. I know
Yes, it would be the
that.
day off. Yes,
Yes, that's what I was getting
yes,
at. That's why today's the holiday, even though the 24th, which was
yes,
Saturday, because same thing with Canada Day, it gets pushed to the Monday because it happens on a
yes,
Saturday this year.
yes. But I don't. I was listening this morning. I listened to some Radio Canada um, to hear if there was any reporting on the celebrations, whatnot. And nothing.
Mm,
So,
mm,
I'll look more.
wow.
But Bonne Saint-Jean en retard. Yeah, tous nos amis. There you go. What else do we have? Oh, some health news. Um, it seems that, according to Gillian Haley, an associate professor at the University of British Columbia's Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, that a fewer than 15-minute surgical procedure to remove the fallopian tubes in an average risk woman who is done having children and is already undergoing a gynecological surgery severely, greatly reduces the incidences of of ovarian cancer.
Mm,
She says, quote, removal of the fallopian tubes, the tissue of origin for high-grade serous ovarian cancer, which is the most common and the most lethal form of ovarian cancer. We now have some preliminary evidence that this is working and that we are preventing ovarian cancers by doing this. So maybe something that for people who like to be a little more proactive. If it's something about which you are concerned and you are at that stage of your life where you're done having children and you are already undergoing gynecological surgery, you might want to ask for that as a way to mitigate your risk, particularly if you have a family history of ovarian cancer. So just a little bit of news you can use, hopefully. Uh, do you have anything, Mr.
I
Grizzly?
don't know. I'm
I've been
trying to
talking.
determine here. Well, I'm just trying to determine something here because we're getting a comment here, say, from Tim McCaffrey says the holiday oddly. And I'm trying to find out when it is in
Oh, we
Ontario
didn't tell
this
you.
year because for Canada Day, because it says Canada Day. Yeah, Canada Day, which falls on a
Yeah.
Saturday, which means people will be asking when is Canada Day observed in 2023. And in most cases, Friday paid day off, but it can be Monday in some cases. So I don't know when it is. I'm gonna
Oh,
have to check some
interesting that they made it
calendars because I
Friday.
have no idea when it is. Yeah,
I just always
I don't
assumed it
know.
was the day after, the first business day after.
Y- Yeah, see, 'cause that's usually the way, right? It's a long weekend either
Hmm.
way. I just don't know if it's the Monday or the Friday. So I'm trying to find
Well,
that out because I
would
don't
be
know.
kind of helpful to know so you can plan. It would be terrible to say,
Well, this is
"Oh,
the thing,
why
right?
weren't you at work yesterday?" It's like, well, it was a long weekend. Yeah, that was, or you showing up Friday and where's everyone? The long weekend was today. Oh crap!
Uh, so, um, so I'm looking at look at that. I gotta share this calendar. This is from statutoryholidays.com, Ontario. Okay, let me share this screen. Come on, share. I need the screen to share. It's not sharing. It's pissing me off. Here we go. Statutory holidays in Ontario. Okay, first 2020 day in 2024. Okay, that's great. When's the holiday? When's the bloody holiday? That's not telling me anything. It's like, yes, I know it's on July 1st, Saturday this year. Am I off on Friday or Monday? That's not telling me anything.
Yeah, that's not helpful at all.
It's just giving me a date, which I already know.
Ah,
I know the
my
date.
word!
I need
Oh my
to know
word!
when the holiday is.
Oh jeez.
Oh boy.
um, let's see what else. The prime minister was in Iceland over the course of the weekend.
Yes.
was the guest of honor, was being invited at a meeting of Nordic nations. So Sweden, Denmark, Finland, and Norway, I believe, were there in the host country of Iceland. There's been They wanted to talk about the usual stuff they would talk, of course, in these types of events. But of course, the developments in Russia kind of took precedence. The government of Iceland had recently closed its embassy in Moscow and instructed the Russian government to sharply reduce the number of diplomats that it had deployed to Iceland. So that had added some texture to the meeting. The meeting itself was held on the island of Vestmannaeyjar off the south coast of Iceland, and while the prime minister was on the ferry, he met one-on-one with the new prime minister of Finland, because they recently had an election. They also elected a right-wing government, as did Sweden recently.
I don't understand what's going on.
And Finland, of course, is now the newest member of NATO, and Sweden has applied to NATO, but is having its application delayed by Turkey, who is not very happy with the fact that Sweden hasn't been acting strongly enough against groups that are, I guess, pro-Kurdish within Sweden. So it's like Erdogan's trying to use his, I'll let you into NATO, but you first got to do me a favor, though.
Yeah. Quid pro quo.
It's what it seems like. So there, and before leaving, of course, because of what was going
Thank
on.
you, Linda.
Oh, there we go. Federal government's offices are closed on Monday, July 3rd. Thanks, Linda.
So that would mean Monday would
Yes.
be the holiday.
Yeah.
Okay, appreciate that.
Yeah. And before he left, the prime minister called a meeting of his incident response group, and spoke with the presidents of Ukraine and the USA to make sure that he was completely on top of it. But I'm sure he probably got some instructions to deliver some messages, so get some feedback from those 5 nations and to bring it back as well, since he was already there. But yeah, lots of things going on. In better news, because I think we might be near the end of the show, Mr. Grizzly. Yeah. Patti LaBelle.
Yeah, we'll wrap up
yesterday.
in a minute or two.
Yeah, had a tribute to Tina Turner yesterday at the BET Awards, at which Drake was the leading nominee. Drake's name was called twice, one for Drake and 21 Savage, winning for Best Group, and then as a collaboration on a Future song called Wait For You. Beyonce won a ton of stuff, of course. Break My Soul and Renaissance. I mean, great single, great album. But there were 2 ties, actually. Beyonce tied for the best album with a singer named Sha, or Za, S-Z-A, who I do not know, I must say, and I have not heard of. So I don't know
SZA
how good their
from
music is.
Wu-Tang. SZA's from Wu-Tang
Okay.
Clan.
SZA? Okay.
SZA. Yeah, SZA.
Yes. Yes, now I remember.
Wu-Tang.
That's what it sounded. Yeah, Beyonce, because it sounded like Beyonce and SZA, and I'm thinking, I know Lizzo, but SZA. That makes sense, SZA. But the male R&B artist award was a tie between Usher and Chris Brown, which again causes me some consternation.
Look, Chris Brown, he's a gifted musical artist. He's a good singer. He's a hell of a dancer. I like his music. He needs mental health help and support and counseling and therapy and maybe some medication, but that's just my opinion. He has a history. He's a hitter. I mean, it's no secret. We all know. We all saw what he did to Rihanna.
I know. It's like, again, it's like we're giving prizes to these people. But then again, R. Kelly was nominated for awards for years and years and years before.
And everybody knew. Everybody knew. Come on. He was grooming Aaliyah when she was 14.
I know. It's just like, stop giving. Yeah. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Give someone else a turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then speaking of douche canoes that got their comeuppance. Well, Andrew Tate and his
Mm.
brother Tristan, and two of his associates got officially arrested in
So
Romania.
were they were released, or he was released, wasn't he?
Yep,
Or was he still in, yeah, he was released, so he's back in the clink.
yep. They were arrested about a week ago, and they were charged. Him and his brother, and now it's well. Now I'm not sure whether or not he's so happy he chose Romania. Well, we'll have to see. But they says he
Yeah.
will remain under house arrest in Romania for another 30 days from the end of June, pending trial on charges of human trafficking. Tate was indicted on Tuesday, along with his brother Tristan and two Romanian female suspects for human trafficking, rape, and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women. They are under house arrest pending an investigation into abuses against 7 women who prosecutors say were lured through false claims of relationships. So they're promised love and romance with a big international celebrity.
Uh, uh,
The 4 suspects were held in police
uh,
custody from December 29th until March 31st before Bucharest court put them under house arrest, which prosecutors on Tuesday sought to extend. Yeah, so there you go. At least
pardon me.
that's happening. That's happening.
I have something for you here
Okay.
that I think you'll find interesting. I'm going to put the graphic on the screen here. This is from Scary Larry on Twitter. Not trans, not a drag queen. GOP, gang of pedophiles. A Minnesota jury has found GOP strategist, donor, and founder of Big Tent Republicans, Anton Lazaro, guilty of sex trafficking children.
Because of course. Because of course. And
Accuse the other
then,
side of that which you were guilty, right?
right? And then the last little bit of good news, or sad news, depending. Elton John played Glastonbury Music Festival for the first time. And
Oh, sorry,
I
Ree,
don't
I
know
got
what
that
was,
wrong.
yeah, Sir Elton John.
Riz's
And I don't,
Wu Tang and Sis is a singer. I got them mixed up. My apologies.
oh, yes, RZA was, yeah. Um, and Glastonbury, I mean, from what I've been seeing on Twitter, there's Cat Stevens and Chrissy Hind, and so
The
getting
Foo Fighters. The Foo Fighters showed up and did a 1 hour set. They were billed as the Turnips, so it was a surprise. Nobody knew they were
ah,
coming.
I love
Yeah,
it.
the
I love it.
Turnips.
I love it.
That was the Foo Fighters.
Yes, the concert was part of his Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour, which now moves to Paris and will end in Sweden on the 8th. It was basically promoted as his last concert within the UK because
Okay.
he will no longer tour, he says. Though he does have another studio album scheduled for this autumn, unlike Billy Joel, who is touring but not recording new music because he says he's basically sung all he has to say. So I'll continue singing my old hits, but you're probably not going to get new music from me. Whereas Elton John's the other way around. I probably won't be touring, but you will still get new music. He
Mhm.
opened the concert with Pinball Wizard, which he played in the movie Tommy. He is quoted as saying, "I've never been asked to play before, so it's come at a time when it couldn't be a more perfect ending to playing in Britain than to play at Glastonbury." But while he was playing, of course, he showed a little leg and said it might be his last show in Britain.
Ah,
Well,
has
you
the
know him. He
political
does.
side. Yeah.
He's big into charity and fundraising and that kind of stuff. So I
Yeah.
can certainly see him coming out to, do a concert or something in the name of something. But yeah, there you go. But thank you for the music, and you know, and yeah, enjoy time at home and enjoy your family, sir.
Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road.
Indeed, Mr. Grizzly. Do we have a show?
I believe we do. Yes, I believe we do. Very mellow Monday for me. You know what my problem is this morning? I have no coffee.
Oh, is that what happened?
This is peppermint tea. Yeah, I neglected to pick some up yesterday. I went to make coffee this morning and realized I have no coffee. So peppermint tea. So I'm super mellow. I'm not fully awake yet. Um, so I'm not firing on all 8 cylinders this morning, as I'm sure the viewers and listeners can hear in both my mellowed out voice, and I didn't have a rant really. I had, I'm just the brain's not functioning properly. I need the cap. Look, I've been drinking coffee since I was 14. All right, I worked in a kitchen. I was a sous chef at 15, which I don't even think is legal today. Like literally 15 years old, running a kitchen, telling all these other people what to do. Yeah. Anyway, we'll not discuss the legalities of that because it was what it was. It was the 1980s. Anyway, I started drinking coffee because I had to get there to prep for breakfast at like 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to get there at 5:30 to get everything opened up and start serving at 6 because it was on a golf course, and in the summertime it was very, very busy. So I started drinking coffee to wake up and never looked back. So I will be picking up coffee shortly. I just sent him. I just logged into my work computer there about 30 minutes ago, and every morning I post a photo because I did it one week, every day for a week as a gag, and now they're like, no, you have to do this forever from now on. I'm like, okay, so every morning I post a photo, and this morning was like, good Monday morning. I'm out of coffee. I'm gonna take a rare break later to run to the corner store to purchase some because I don't take breaks, right? And I seldom, like, I'll have lunch, but I'll continue to work. Like literally, usually when I start there, when I get to the office, it's go until I leave.
Right.
I seldom ever take a break, and lunch breaks I almost never take. I'm just too busy. But because I'm working at home today, I will take a lunch break, and I will eventually take a coffee break and run to the store to get some because my butt's going to be dragging otherwise.
Because I'm a tennis nut. Qualifications for Wimbledon start today, so I'm very, very excited. So good luck to all the Canadians. I know Gabriel Diallo and Vasek Pospisil are playing today, and it's nice to see Vasek back as well. He's been away for a while, and we've had some good results as well. We've had a tennis player named Liam Draxel win a doubles final and make a final in singles, and Stacey Fung, who we had talked about before, won another tournament in Wichita. She's now in the top 300 players of the world, and closing in on the top 200 relatively quickly. She might be there by the end of the season if she keeps playing how she's been playing so far this year. So yeah, just really good stuff. All right, Kits, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver podcast. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. Let your peeps know about us because democracy is something that you do. If you are in the GTA, vote, 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 and bring someone with you, please.
Vote.
Because the way that the Conservatives are asking, it's almost like if Toronto falls to Chow, they lose the whole game. So, and considering that there's already panic in the system, given Pulliver's by-election results, and given that 338 polling aggregator has just shown that the Conservatives are losing Ontario, if Olivia Chow wins the mayoralty race, it might be full-blown panic. And because Parliament's adjourned, PP no longer has the House of Commons in order to get free video clips at our expense. Right. He's going to have to actually make his own and get them out there and promote them all by himself.
Well, there'll be the weird ones where he's driving in his car and he keeps getting close to his phone each time. Those are strange.
Like, dude, we need to see your fingers and your nose hairs way less.
Yeah.
Way less. Okay. Just too close. Boundaries, personal space. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on Crier Media Network as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. And if your platform is not Beaver Grizzly friendly, why you want it?
Yeah,
like really?
You gotta find a friendly one.
We need to talk about your priorities. Stars and reviews are appreciated. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please, 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 please be generous. We haven't gotten any reviews or stars for a while, so just help us out. Apparently, the more of them you get, the higher it gets in being promoted or something. They give more priority to it. I don't know exactly how it works. It's beyond my pay grade, but
we need stars
we need stars.
Stuff.
We love to hear from you. Reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter feed at True North at True Eager. We have hit our 1,300th kit on it, and you know who you are because you're watching today. Kit
Awesome.
Toronto D. There you go. Yes,
Awesome.
you are Kit 1300. You can subscribe via our pod page, podpage.com, The True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. Oh, and I forgot, if you want to write to us, you can do so by email, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel and make like Elaine, smash that button, smash the subscribe button, and smash the like button. There you go. Yes, Toronto D, all of us make that happen. You are right. And Kit and
Yes.
you both are stars. You are melting.
Just before the final
You're so
wrap
good
up,
to
I
us.
want to show you. I want to show you a picture taken from Gatineau, looking towards Parliament Hill, and you can see the Alexandria Bridge in the foreground, and to the left, the National Gallery of Canada. This was yesterday morning to give you an idea of how bad. So you can see Parliament Hill and the bridge, and to the left, to the right is the downtown core. That's how bad it was yesterday morning. Like it was really bad.
Yep, that's bad. We got
It's
nothing
not nearly
like
that bad today. Yeah, it's not nearly that bad
We're
today.
literally just 2 hours away, and we got nothing like that.
Yeah, the smoke must have blown in a different direction at some point, but that was
Yeah.
bad. And that was, I woke up yesterday morning, and my eyes were just killing me, and I'm like, oh, my skin was a mess. I'm sitting out having coffee with Bridget, and I'm like, what is going on? And I didn't, because we're out in her backyard, and I couldn't, there's she's got foliage, and you just see the trees, and then I get in my car to drive home, and I'm like, oh my good Lord. Like, it's just everywhere. I'm like, as soon as I got home, I messaged her. I said, it's really smoky out. Like, really bad. Anyway,
so please,
that's what it was like yesterday.
Yeah, take care if you're in the area. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel we've done a particularly good show, if you're watching, you can scan the QR code on the top left to find our emergency hydration fund, and that's where, well, we use the funds to hire staff to keep us going.
I'm staff.
Yummy, tasty liquid staff. Anyway, so if you scan that little thing, that will bring you to our fund. And if you are listening, then you go to coffee. That's spelled ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And that's where you can make your donation. We appreciate every nickel.
We do.
Principally because they have a beaver on it, but from the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourselves. Mr. Grizzly, please, some words of wisdom, sir.
Yeah, I said this on Friday, and I'll say it again today. I think I said this on Friday. Get out and vote today. People of Toronto, people of the GTA who are in the area who can vote in this election, please get out and vote. You need to remember that the municipal election is the one that affects your life the absolute most. The daily aspects of your life are affected more by municipal elections than provincial or federal. So it really does start at that level. That's the ground level. And it's important to exercise your democratic right and do your civic duty, because it is your civic duty to get out and vote, because you have a voice when you vote. And if you don't vote, you've given up your voice to somebody else, and that's never good. And the only way we can defeat evil is by fighting back, and fighting back is by voting.
And now I'm going to do something terrible, and I'm going to put an earworm.
Oh, no.
Colors of the world, get out and vote. Every boy and every girl, get out and vote. People of the world, get out and vote.
I hate you right now. I hate you right now. I was never a Spice Girls fan, but because I worked in nightclubs, I had to play that stuff.
Mr. Grizzly, please roll them credits. My work here is done.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum. And the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Wow, the kids are on fire in the comments to end the show, right? Worst
Yeah,
one.
I'm trying to find the link here for the Apple Podcasts is where you can give us stars, but I can't find the link. I thought I had it saved, but I don't know where the heck it went.
Yeah. Okay. We have Kit Sassy saying we're N95s if you're out and about. Kit Tavi G going such great staff. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Let's see what else we have. Sassy saying again, seriously, song parodies. Tavi G, I see pom-poms, ponytails, and miniskirts. I was trying to give myself 2 pigtails to come back for the Easter egg, but I could only find 1 elastic. Just trying to do that for
Well,
you.
that's not going to work now,
It
is
didn't
it?
happen. Yeah, we'll try and we'll try and find where the link is because to leave a review, it's sometimes really hard to find for some reason. It's not obvious on the Apple, but there is a
No,
way.
it's not.
There is a way. I'm
Like,
just not
it's
quite
really
sure what it
difficult.
is. Anyway,
I'm like Apple Podcast, okay, millions of shows. Oh, look, like
I think it might
this
be at
is.
the bottom. No, yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't
a
know how you
fan
leave.
of that company because they're complicated.
Yeah,
You got to find us on Apple
that's all
Podcasts
right. That's
somewhere.
all
I know
right.
that we're there. It's just I don't know how to find it. And Apple's chewing
Let's
my
see. I'll just
processor right
type up
now.
how to leave
So
a review. Like how to leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts. It's easy to leave reviews. It starts.
sure it
You
is.
can leave a review
Yeah.
on the Apple Podcast app by heading to a podcast's rating and reviews menu. It says.
Yeah. See, so here's the thing: if you don't have an Apple product, an iPhone, an iPad, or a Mac, trying to find anything Apple related podcast wise is near impossible. If you're on an
Yeah.
iPhone, you should be able to find us very easily and give the rating there. That's how it
Yes.
works. But if trying to find, like, literally, if you don't have an Apple product, it's damn near impossible.
Yeah.
They don't want you to access it unless you have their hardware.
Yeah. It seems that if you go to
That's
the
my
ratings
thought.
and the reviews at the bottom, there's a little thing that says write a review that you can click that you will see
Okay, let me just
according to this visual. But I'm not sure. Like I said, that's only if you are already on a Mac product.
get it to load. It won't.
So you'll see something like that.
It seems.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you can read that. It's
So there you go. Yeah, that's the best I can find. But yeah, I'm not sure if you're not already on an Apple, if you don't not already using an Apple product, how easy it is to find. But we'll do more searches for that, and we'll be able to give you some of that tomorrow. All right, kids.
all righty.
Hey.
See ya.
Ciao.